Hello, today's graph is going to be based on chapter 18C, and it's about solving exponential equations. Alright, say I have an equation that looks like 2 to the x equals 50. In order to solve that, I'm going to use my graphing calculator. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to graph each part of the equation. So in y1, I will put 2 to the x. And in y2, I'm going to put 50. And the big picture here is that once I graph these, I'm going to look for the intersecting point, and that would be the answer. So if I go to my calculator in y equals, I type 2 to the x, and in y2 I type 50, and I graph it. And the blue line there is the 2 to the x curve. And then y to the 50 is not showing up, or sorry, y equals 50 is not showing up because of my window. So what I want to do is change my window. So I click window, and then I need my y's to go a little bit higher. So I'm going to scroll down to the y max, and let's make the y max 70, or just make it something that's bigger than 50. And since I'm counting by 70, I'm probably going to change my scale just a little bit so I can see it better. We'll go with 10. Okay, so the blue line again is my exponential curve, and the red line is y equals 50. So what I'm interested in finding is this point right here. What we're not going to do is trace. We're not going to trace because that's not specific enough. So let's go back to my graph. And let's do this option instead. At this point, I'm going to use a feature on the calculator called calc. So I use second trace. And you'll notice that written in blue is calc. So second trace. And I want to find the intersection. So I'm going to choose number 5 because that's the intersection. So I click on 5. And then you'll notice at the bottom of the calculator it's going to ask you for the first curve. So you can move your cursor left or right until you get close to where the intersection is. Once you're there, hit enter. Then it asks you for the second curve. And again, you can move the cursor left or right until you get close to the second curve where they intersect, and then you hit enter. It asks you to guess, which just means hit enter again, and then it gives you the intersection. So it tells you that x equals 5.64, and what that means is that when x equals 5.64, 2 to the x equals 50. So this is the solution to that problem. Okay, so let's do another one. All right, we've got 3 times 2 to the x equals 93. So I go to y equals. I'm going to type in 3 times 2 to the x. I'm going to type in 93 because I want this to be equal to 93. I'll graph it, see what my new graph looks like. Blue line is the exponential curve, and then the red line would be my value, but again, remember I can't see it in this window because I'm only going up to 70, so let's change our window again. We'll go to 100. Still counting by tens, and we'll graph it again. So the blue line is the exponential curve, and now the red line is 93, So to solve it, I'm going to go second, trace. I want the intersection, that's 5, so I choose 5. I move my cursor along the curve until I get close to the intersection point. Too far. So we'll go, call that enter. I move along the intersection point, hit enter. It guesses, I hit enter. And the actual answer is x equals 4.95. So now you know how to use your calculator in order to solve an exponential equation.